and they want to do something on their own.
Right. Can we have the feed we just had right now? Can we see that one again? The one we just saw. That's Derry in his working environment. And that brings me to my next question. You have quite a space in your office.
Yeah.
Quite very huge space.
Yeah.
So how many people do you have working with Dream Oval as of now? Apart from the four pioneers or the four front runners.
Yeah.
How many people do you have?
We have 8 people. We have 8 people, but we are connected to other people globally who help us produce the things that we produce. So locally or within our team, we are 8, but we're doing a lot of work that impacts several thousands of people.
Okay, so this is the Dream Oval team in their working space. And that's quite interesting because everybody I saw there looks very, very young. Everybody in the picture right now looks very, very young. And I bet a majority of you guys are not above 30.
Not at all, actually.
You're all
I think
below
the average
30.
age will be like 27 or 26 because as the year goes by, we grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. So I guess you guys started Dream Oval when you were probably 24, 25.
24, 23, 25.
And you had the energy, you had the courage to go into this, not taking into consideration the risk that was involved.
Yeah, personally, I thought about the risk, but I told myself I was young. If I had to do any mistake, I could do it now and recover later, as opposed to not do the mistake. And it was a positive mistake. It wasn't like I was going to do something that would send me to jail. I was going to do something that, if it worked, could send me to greater height.
Right.
So I chose looking at my age, saying that okay, at that time I think I was 24, going to 25. I said, hey, I could actually do this, and by age 32 or 35, I could recover if it doesn't go on well, or I could not do it, and one day tell myself that, ouch, I wish I had done this. So I actually thought about the age first, but I chose the path. I chose the risk path because I knew that if I wanted to make any mistake, it was between after I finished school and maybe 7 years after I finished school. I wasn't in a rush to buy a new car. I wasn't in a rush to get married. I wasn't in a rush to please family by going to look for money for family members. And probably I was privileged because I didn't have somebody, or I didn't have a lot of dependent. So it was quite easy for me. Others may not have it that way, but I thought about age, but I thought that if I would make any mistake, it is now.
So you don't regret taking the decision you had taken some 4 years back?
Not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Very sure?
Not because I go to work fulfilled. I go to work and I want to work. I wake up in the morning and I want to go to work. You know, I've worked in an environment before that, you know, I'll go to work and I don't want to go to work. This is one of the first things I've done, that I wake up every day and I know that that is what I want to do. There's no question about it. I can't doubt that. I can't doubt that maybe I love a woman. I can't doubt that maybe I want to attend a certain function. But there's no doubt that I want to go to Dream Oval and go and do my work.
You should be very, very busy at Dream Oval.
Very, actually.
And I know it's difficult managing people. How difficult is it for you to control all the people that you are managing at your place right now? And how easy is it for you to control them as well?
So there's a business that, you know, initially, first of all, you can't pay salaries. So how do you manage people? How do you get people to respect you where you can't give them money for work done? How do you get them to work? How do you drive them to work? And that's where you have to exercise smart power. You don't need to be too hard. You don't need to be too soft. You need to get them involved. You need to let them know that, hey, what we are doing is for us. You don't need to rise yourself above them. You need to be able to be on the same level, but still, you know, being able to kind of engineer a certain level of respect to get work done. And one of the things that we did from the beginning, what we used to term lateral management, where in the beginning we're only 4 with some interns, like 2 other interns. And the question, who is the CEO? Because in the beginning, truth be told, we are human beings. Everybody wants to feel big. Everybody wants to feel like, but we all started this together. How can I take orders from you? We all started this. Okay, let's all go see this. Let's all go see a certain client, because maybe the client is the CEO of a certain company. You want to see that client. How do you manage it in such a way that you will not have clashes, you will not have conflict of interest, or you will not have people in their own fantasies, in their own naivety, in their own exuberance, destroying the very vision that you set. Then we set out to have lateral management or lateral leadership. That's what we termed it originally, lateral leadership.
Right.
We set out to demarcate roles. So we looked at people's strength. We know that, hey, this guy, when we're in school, was very good at technical stuff. He was very good at writing the code. So, hey, Henry, you are the head of code. Or we didn't say you are the head, but you are the kind of the lead for code.
Right.
Claude was good at coming up with ideas, making sure they're managing people. So Claude, you're going to be the lead for product management.
Right.
Charles was good at user experience, customer support. So Charles, you're going to be the lead for customer support. Derry had a lot of network. So Derry, make sure that you go out there and go and look for the business for us.
Obvious.
So it made it easier. And then initially what we did was that, so when we come to work, every week was somebody, it's like we implement certain basic models. Like this week is clause 10 to lead the whole company.
Right.
So this week clause sets out an agenda for the company, and then list a list of tasks that we want to do, list our weekly memory verse, list our weekly vision, and everybody has to listen to him, and those things actually helped us figure out who was able to carry Dreamoval from where we were to the next stage.
Right.
So we did it for like months, and we naturally it came out that at some point everybody came out and said, okay, we are tired of lateral leadership. CEO came too early can break down the team.
Sure.
Because CEO comes with this whole connotation of big man and starting a business with your friends, and one starting out as a big man could actually break the team. And these are some of the simple things that break a team. So we thought of lateral leadership, but we didn't have any role like CEO, because it only makes sense that a board of directors appoint a CEO.
Right.
So we run the business where now I become the lead for business development. So I get to see the clients. So naturally, I become more or less the face of the business, talking to people, trying to tap into my network to bring in business. Then we realized that, okay, that model was working. People now saw a certain structure. There was a certain leadership in the business. So we needed to add a board to it who can then appoint a CEO. So when a board appoints a CEO, it is easier for the other team members to accept and listen, because the agenda for the CEO is given to him by the board, and the CEO has to prosecute. So that becomes, so if my boss says I should get $10,000 this month, and I come and I say, hey, you guys, shall we do this? Why didn't you do this? No matter how I say it, you don't see me as the one giving the order. You see it as a whole corporate framework. There's a whole corporate invisible hand, but this time around the board that is letting things happen. So that is how we manage the team. That's how we manage leadership in the business, to the point where we had our board, and then we officially had a position like the CEO, to let us, carry the business through.
With all your network, was it difficult for you to choose your board members?
I wouldn't say it was difficult. For us, it wasn't rocket science. We didn't have a lot of knowledge to know how to choose, but we used best effort. We used God's wisdom to choose, and we chose people who we thought could help us. But it turned out there's not everybody that you think will help you or could help you will be able to help you. Sometimes you choose a board because of money. Sometimes you choose a board because of expertise that they have. Sometimes you choose a board because of their influence in society. Sometimes people have the tendency to choose political leaders as board, and those are quite dangerous, because when you do that, then people start tagging your business. So in as much as possible, you try to detach yourself from political leaders, and even from potential customers.
Right.
So there could be board members who could actually give you business, and that business could be conflicts of interest in their realm. So what do you have to do? You might want to necessarily keep them as advisors.
Right.
Seek their wisdom, but not necessarily let them represent directly on the board. So I wouldn't say it was difficult for us getting a board. We got a board that was very effective. They came to sit down and had a meeting, but they didn't have to come every 3 months because they might not get time. So in retrospect, when you're getting a board, yes, you have to get a mix of everybody. Get somebody who will be willing to actually be on your case every day, who will be willing to come on board, who will be willing to sit down with you and talk about it. and also get somebody who has the influence. But in as much as you can, try to detach yourself from political appointees or potential customers, CEOs, big wigs, big names that could actually offer you business. Because the moment you do that, you impede them from giving you business, because then the whole thing will become conflict of interest, or you never know the kind of policies that they are running in their companies.
So these are the things you guys actually did.
Yeah.
And how many people did you start with as a board?
I think initially we had, like 4 board members, including me 5.
Right.
Yeah.
And is it right to have 4 or 5 people as board members? Because I know that 4 might not really work, but 5, yes.
Why wouldn't 4 work?
Well, 4 because that's an even number. What if you have to decide on issues and 2 says yes, I'm for it, and 2 says I'm against it?
But
so you probably need about 5 people.
Not necessarily. You set the rules. You tell yourself that there's a chairman of the board whose vote is 2. In case of, so you set rules. There's no hard and fast rule about how many numbers you have on your board. You made the choices that will make it easy for you. So if you have 4 people on the board, you can say that, okay, after a vote, if there's a tie, the chairman has the last say. However it goes, it's rather unfortunate, but that was a decision that you made because those were the resources available to you. So I don't want us to. It's easier to have a 5 and say 3 against 2. But even that, sometimes you can have 3 against 2 and they'll say somebody has 60% of the vote, somebody has 30% of the vote. So it's not really about the numbers, right? It is advisable to have lower numbers to make things easy for you. But in as much as possible, it should be based on what the members of the board are going to offer you.
And how many people were on the board? I was going to ask, so you had 4 people on your board.
Yeah.
And you didn't need 5.
We didn't need 5.
Were you one of the members of the board?
Yeah, I was.
So, in actual fact, how many people did you have from Dream Over on that board?
Just me.
Just you?
Yeah.
And you were the 5th person on the board?
One person declined, so I was the number 4. And the other person sat in as an observer. But even in his observer role, he said things that helped the business actually.
So he didn't make any concrete decisions. He couldn't vote.
No.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Because we have this big notion that you need a board of 5 or 7 or any odd number. Even if it has to be 3, then it should be 3 because of decision makings.
Yeah.
And that should include yourself.
Yeah.
So did you on that board have the authority to vote and decide on some of the issues?
Yeah, we all voted. We voted on sometimes we voted on different issues. We voted on an issue like, I don't know whether I should bring it up here, but there was a time, the first board meeting, we started business, very good Christians.
Right.
Everybody wanted to show how grateful we were to God.
Right.
So one of the first things that the team tried to let me send to the board meeting was, we have to pay tithes as a company. And for me, I was quite uncomfortable, right? But I was carrying the mandate of the organization, and if you are 6 people in the company and 5 of them are saying that, so go and tell the board I want to pay tithe, there was no way I could challenge them. And that's the beauty of, let's say, democracy or leadership.
Right.
Because taking it there will not kill me. It's an idea. And we took it there, and the board kicked it out. They didn't even see the point. What is the point of paying tithe, as a company? So those, and we're young people. We thought that was, hey, we're trying to show gratitude to God because we're a God-loving company.
Right.
But the board thought that it wasn't necessary. If you want to pay tithe, okay, if they pay your bonus or whatever you
salaries,
pay, take some and maybe bring them and pay it to a church. And the question was, so which church is going to receive the tithe? So these are some of the issues as a young entrepreneur. We came out with very nice ideas. Want to be, faithful to God. Want to pay tithe. Want to be this. Want to be that. But when you enter the business realm, you play by the rules.
That's quite interesting, viewers. For a business to actually pay tithe, I think that's very, very debatable.
Yeah.
Welcome back from that quick break. I want you guys to send me text messages right now telling me as to whether it's the right thing to do for a business to pay tithe or not. Send the text messages to 026 488 8532. 0264888532. I'll go again for a quick break, and when I'm back, we'll talk more about the products of Dream Oval and other things about the gentleman sitting in front of me. I'll see you after the break.